Hi, I'm Jack Dowling, and welcome back to AI Practical Applications. Today we're going to talk about the history of AI, we're going to talk about myths surrounding AI, and we'll talk about how AI and the internet interrelate. Okay, so modern history, the term AI came from a conference, a Dartmouth conference in 1956, where a group of researchers got together and talked about could they create machines that could simulate human intelligence. And during that era, you saw the emergence of key ideas like problem solving, symbolic reasoning, and machine learning. And the 50s and 60s are really considered the birth of AI. That's when Alan Turing first proposed the concept, the Turing test, to determine if a machine can actually exhibit intelligent behavior. And people are applying that test today on things like ChatGPT and Bard. John McCarthy developed Lisp back then, which was the first real programming language widely used in AI research. And then the AI winter happened in the 70s and the 80s, and there was still a lot of enthusiasm around AI, but research slowed down because we had very high expectations, which happens with a lot of new technologies. The expectations are sky high, and then people start pushing it forward, and they come to the realization it's going to take more time than I thought. So there were high expectations and limited computing power, and a lack of sufficient data caused a decline in funding and interest. The research continued in certain niches like expert systems, which uses rules and knowledge to solve specific problems. So progress was made during the 70s and 80s. Then in the 1980s, expert systems and knowledge-based AI gained prominence. And examples include Mycin, which was an expert system for diagnosing blood infections, and Dendril, which analyzed chemical compounds. And while the expert systems were useful, they had limitations, handling uncertainty, and they didn't have the ability to learn. So in the 90s, you saw machine learning and neural networks. Neural networks is another term for deep learning. And you start to see a real resurgence in AI because of these techniques. Machine learning techniques like decision trees and support vector machines allowed computers to learn from data and make predictions, which is what's really driven a lot of what's happening today. And then neural networks, deep learning networks, were inspired by the structure of the human brain, and they showed promise in pattern recognition and image processing tasks, and those are widely in use today. So big data and data learning started really happening in the 2000s, and it was all because when the internet started, it just got to be like clockwork. Every year, the amount of data available doubled, and it doubled across all companies and all websites, and so that gave people enough data to do AI, and kids started developing machines that had GPUs on the board for gaming purposes. GPUs are graphical processing units, and kids would put a lot of these GPUs on the board so that their computer games, the video would run effectively. And AI people started to look at that, and they realized that they could use those machines for AI, and that they would run fast enough to actually handle things like deep learning. So deep learning is a subfield of machine learning. Machine learning is a subfield of AI. And deep learning gained attention due to its ability to automatically learn hierarchical representations from data, which is really critical to really learn. And it achieved breakthroughs in certain domains like computer vision, natural language processing, and speech recognition. In the 2010s to the 2020s, AI really became mainstream. I mean, it was used on all the social media sites, on Amazon, Google, anywhere you went, pretty much people are using AI. And then you have the virtual assistants like Siri and Alexa, and recommendation systems, autonomous vehicles started to become more prevalent. And companies started to invest heavily in AI research and development. And you had significant advancements in areas like robotics, healthcare, finance, and cybersecurity as a result. There have been ethical and societal considerations that have come about, and we're going to talk about that in more detail in a few minutes. So AI myths. The first one is that AI is a solitary technology. It's often perceived as this thing. In reality, it's multidisciplinary field, and it incorporates various technologies like machine learning, natural language processing, computer vision, and robotics, and more. And it's typically you'll see AI combined with other things, and that's what's making it so effective. One of them we'll talk about. We're going to interview a guy that runs a computer vision company, and it's very interesting what they're doing. So another second myth, AI is all powerful. One of the biggest misconceptions is that we have general intelligence. It's called artificial general intelligence. And it's, people envision that we already have machines that are surpassing human intelligence. And while AI has made significant strides, it still lacks the broad range of cognitive abilities and common sense reasoning that humans possess. We don't have machines that can do what humans do yet. They can do small portions of what humans do. Another misconception is that AI is going to take over the world. For that to happen, we're going to have these kind of artificial general intelligence platforms that, they result in super intelligent beings. And, the notion of AI becoming self-aware and wanting to take over the world, it's pretty far from reality. I mean, you'll see some videos out there where, where things like, they've already got models up of interactive beings out there, and you can see videos on the internet and where they become angry and threaten to kill people. Well, you have to realize all that stuff's driven by the data that those AI models ingest. And, over time, I think we're going to get much better at controlling how AI reacts to the data that it ingests. And I think that's going to become less of an issue. AI will eliminate jobs entirely. I think that's not going to happen really anytime soon. I think what you're going to have is the people are going to lose jobs to AI, but they're going to lose jobs to another human who's using AI. And that's the reality of where we are today. AI is completely objective and unbiased. Well, AI systems are only as unbiased as the data they're trained on. Human bias can be introduced during the design and implementation of AI systems, but mostly the data. And so I'll give you an example. If you were to put pictures into a computer vision system, and it was of animals, pets specifically, and you had 1,000 cats, but you only had 100 dogs, the AI system is going to be a lot more prone to recognizing little animals like that as cats than it will be dogs, just because it's more familiar with cats than dogs. And that is bias. That's an example of bias in an AI system. So AI is dangerous and unethical. AI can be used for good or bad, just like any other technology. And it's up to us as humans to make sure that we're using it for the good. AI is infallible and error-free. AI systems can be highly accurate and they can perform really complex tasks, but they're not immune to errors, especially when they're faced with unfamiliar or ambiguous situations. They're not as flexible and pliable as humans, and their ability to adapt isn't the same. So you've got to continuously monitor, test, and refine the models to ensure that they are handling the situations they're faced with. Another one is that AI is a recent development. We just talked through the history of AI. It started back in the 1950s, so it's been around a while. So is AI dangerous? Well, there's a lot of misconceptions in science fiction out there. It's where AI turns against humanity or becomes uncontrollable. The Arnold movies, Terminator, was an example of that. And those kind of movies can create fear around AI, but recognize we're a long way from that. And for AI to do the kinds of things that it did in that movie, or for it to do things like HAL did in 2001: A Space Odyssey, we're a long way from having systems that are anywhere near capable enough to do those kinds of things. Will we eventually have them? Yeah, I believe we will, but it's going to take time. So, AI dangerous? It's, people thinking it is really a lack of understanding. It's a complex field. Its inner workings can be difficult to comprehend because basically what it's doing is you have math formulas that are learning. They're learning from the data, and they learn on their own. It's not like you're teaching them. They learn like a kid learns. They look at the data that you provide them, and they learn from that data. So you can't necessarily dictate what they're going to learn. So there's fear and apprehension as a result of that. But again, these systems are used for very specific tasks today. There's not, androids walking around out there that look and sound and act like humans, and we're a long way from that. So automation and job displacement, just think human augmentation, because that's how AI is going to be used for quite some time. The bias and ethical concerns, these systems are trained on huge amounts of data, and that data can inadvertently contain biases, and so they can perpetuate discrimination or unfairness, and that creates ethical concern. Potential for misuse, AI can be misused for malicious purposes. It has been already. Autonomous weapons, AI is going to be used for that, and it probably already is being used for that. It's being used for conducting surveillance, and that can be a positive and a negative depending on how well it's controlled. And then the spreading of misinformation, for instance, deep fakes, where they take a video of someone else doing an activity and they superimpose your face on that video. And, you're going to see things like that done around politics, and they're going to show up in the social media sites. And, there's a growing concern. You're seeing more and more of that in pornography, where people's images are being used in pornographic films, and they didn't approve of that. And right now, we're not governing that very well. And, if you're one of those people, I'm sure it's pretty upsetting. So lack of accountability is another issue surrounding AI. And as AI systems become more autonomous and make decisions that impact individuals in society, questions are going to arise on who should be held accountable for their actions. I mean, we're already talking to audit committees about the fact that these systems make recommendations that companies act upon, and we need to be stating the data and the model that produced that recommendation, so that if it winds up being a lame recommendation, we can learn from it and make alterations in how we're using AI. Unforeseen circumstances is another thing that people fear with AI, and the potential for unintended consequences is certainly a reason for concern. And the reason is that, again, you're dealing with mathematical formulas that are learning from data, and they learn amazingly like a human does. And so the conclusions they draw may not be the conclusions we want them to draw, and so we're going to have to stay on top of this and understand how, as this becomes more and more complex, how the data we're feeding these systems is affecting the decisions that they'll make. So will AI surpass the internet? Well, the internet has become incredibly ubiquitous. I was a CIO in a large company when the internet first came about. When we first put up our first website, no company in the world had an internet drop. And so I've been a part of the internet from the very, very beginning. And what it's grown into, that was 1994 when we first started pursuing an internet website, and we had a business-to-business internet website up in 1995. And not long after, we were doing over $1 billion in business over that website, and that represented somewhere between a third and a fourth of our total business. And so it's grown incredibly. I mean, people look at the internet all day long because when you're on your phone and you're looking at sites on your phone, you're looking at the web, you're looking at the internet. And its widespread adoption and the global connectivity have transformed the way we interact, work, and live. All you have to do is go to a restaurant, look at people around you, and they're out on the internet on their phone. And it's truly amazing, and it's been a fabulous uh, innovation for humans. I mean, I can't tell you how much I enjoy the fact that we have access to that kind of information at our fingertips, and I'm sure most people feel that way. It touches every aspect of our lives. I mean, it's pretty scary when you see people driving down the road and they're looking at things on the internet or looking at text. But it's that's how ubiquitous the internet has become. And AI is a general purpose technology. It has the potential to impact a wide range of industries and domains. It can enhance productivity, it can automate tasks, it can drive innovation and enable new capabilities. It has the potential to revolutionize a number of industries, including healthcare, transportation, manufacturing, finance, and a lot of other sectors. And you'll see a lot of societal and economic changes from the use of AI. You're already seeing them. I mean, AI runs on every social media site. It runs on every search engine. It runs on Amazon. I mean, anywhere you go to shop, pretty much they've got AI running on the site now. So there's a very synergistic relationship between AI and the internet. They're not mutually exclusive. In fact, they're interdependent. If you want to really get to AI, you're probably going to leverage the internet to get to it. And the internet's vast data resources and connectivity are providing a lot of the data that we're feeding into these models to begin with. The combination of AI and the internet is going to lead to synergistic effects. They're going to amplify the impact collectively. So the more advanced AI gets, the more impact you're going to see on the internet and how people use the internet. So earlier we mentioned ethical societal implications. Both the AI and the internet have raised important ethical and societal considerations. I mean, when you consider that in 1995, when we really first started developing internet websites, most of the third world was relatively unconnected and they didn't have access to information. Today, most of the world is becoming connected, and you've seen significant economic swings. I mean, the number of programmers that we could hire in India in 1995, when we first started building a website, you could get 7 Indian programmers who all had PhDs for the same price that you could get a regular programmer here in the United States. Today, it's about 1.5 or 1.25, something like that. And so, the economies of the economies of countries across the planet have been significantly impacted by the access to the internet. And you're going to see that same kind of an impact, or in my opinion, you're going to see a greater impact from AI than we saw from just the internet without AI. I mean, it's already happening. It's already making much bigger impacts. So the responsible development of AI, is going to be critical to ensuring its benefits are maximized and its potential negative consequences are mitigated. Similarly, privacy, cybersecurity, and the digital divide associated with the internet, those are all things that we'll have to continue to address as part of the AI journey. So AI positive impacts, improved healthcare. We've developed new treatments, we can diagnose illnesses earlier, we can provide personalized care, increased productivity. We have task automation that we never had before, and really doing things that people don't do very well. I mean, trying to hash through massive amounts of data and come to a conclusion are things that machines do much better than people, and AI does it especially effectively. So AI is really becoming a human augmentation machine. It's making us much better at what we do. As far as sustainable development, optimizing energy use, reducing waste, addressing climate change, AI is helping with all of those things. And I think over time, you're going to see AI assist in creating entirely new forms of energy that are much cleaner and less expensive. It's improved education, people learning online, learning systems that incorporate AI can personalize your learning experience. Not everybody learns the same way, and so these AI training systems, they sort of meld around your personality and how you learn best, and they help you learn faster and more effectively. And I think people are already realizing with the release of ChatGPT, which is OpenAI, which belongs to Microsoft, and Bard, which belongs to Google, you're already seeing enhanced creativity. People are using platforms to create new ideas, to write creatively, to create art and music, to solve problems. AI is going to have a lot of positive impacts on society, and it's not way off in the future. It's right now. So negative impacts, job displacement. Well, yeah, it's going to happen, but you're going to be displaced by somebody using AI. So the trick here, as companies introduce AI capabilities that are going to displace people, they need to train those people to do different things than they were doing before. And many of those people, they're going to be able to train them to use the AI. I mean, AI is becoming more and more user-friendly, by the day. And so you're going to be able to train people that didn't have really any involvement whatsoever in AI to do their job more effectively using AI. There's going to be increased inequality. The haves could overwhelm the have-nots, and that's companies and nations. And I really felt strongly about that even a year ago. But what I'm seeing, the partners that we have, and just people I know in the AI community, I talk to people in the AI community every single day, and you're seeing models that are being produced that can do even complex things like deep learning algorithms. They can execute it on little tiny devices out on the edge of the enterprise. And what that means is that small companies are likely going to be able to compete with big companies, and small countries are going to be able to compete with big countries. And I think that's a fairly new development. Okay, cybersecurity risks. Yeah, we've talked about it. It can be used. AI is being used for cybersecurity attacks. And what you can count on, though, is that the cybersecurity companies that provide protection, they're using AI to fight those AI bots that are attack bots. And you're going to see that continue. It's never going to end. Anything a man can build, another man can figure out how to break, and that's what cybersecurity is all about. You have to stay ahead. You have to understand what people are doing, what's the latest thing, and you have to create capabilities that can mitigate the risk. Weaponization of AI, that's negative, but it's certainly going to make more effective warfare, and probably result, in my opinion, will result in fewer people being killed, because I think what you're going to have is AI is going to kill. AI will become. We're already seeing AI being used in warfare, where they're using drones with AI running on them to recognize people's faces. And so, AI warfare may become a lot more surgical. And if it is, war is never good, but it's much better to just kill the really bad guy leaders than it is to just kill people in mass. And then loss of control is also a negative. That's an unintended consequence, and it's one that we're going to have to face. We're going to have to work very hard to make sure that doesn't happen. My feeling is that's going to be less of an issue than we think it is. So that's all I'm going to cover for today. My next one will be AI, narrow versus general. I'm going to get into the details behind what is narrow AI. That's what everything is today, is narrow AI, versus general, which are these fabulously smart machines that can do everything you can do plus. We're going to talk about that. We'll talk about AI versus humans, and we'll talk about common usages of AI. So that's today's session, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you subscribe to my podcast and continue to watch. There's a lot more coming.